Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oops.
Morning.
Doesn't work.
It's just clicking, and then it'll say no disk. No disk. I tried just unplugging it, turning it off redoing this.
Okay. If you want to send an email to Tiffany that says this is broke. I'm sorry. Of course, the patron can always say, well, then it was like that when I ever. So I don't know. But that's not that old.
Well, and there's a lot of instructions on it. You can't really put any date on it. Like I was reading like what not to do on a lot of things that.
Well, and it's weird because you can actually put it in your car.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you do some of those, not do some of those things? And it's in your car.
And it can't like people.
I think it's possible Christy's been working at this too long. We can hear you, Christy. Hey, Britta, thank you so much for putting on the notification on Aspen, the note. That was really great. You guys have just been working
No problem.
an amazing amount. You got us back and running with the servers. All of your wires found a connection. That was very good. It was early. It was early Saturday, so somebody was working hard.
That's
I
Jeremy
have a
for you.
question.
That was Jeremy.
Britt, I have a question for you. If I
Uh-oh.
change the time for that note to stop, would that have affected all of the libraries or just ours?
Everyone,
Okay.
because it was just posted for everyone.
Okay.
But I mean, if you were going to edit it to stop like that Sunday, because I think I'd set it to stop that evening or whatever, then
Right.
I probably wouldn't have cared.
Well, I understood. Yes, there would have been grace even if you had cared, and I appreciate that too. But I just needed to know if that was a note put on by you and we edited the time that it shut off, if that would change everybody's for the future.
Yes,
Just to know. Thank you.
you are welcome.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. I hope it looks like we hopefully have enough for a quorum. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 10 o'clock.
We do. That's what I was just checking.
Oh. Well, I
We're
was
good.
just about to put Catherine in charge of roll call, so we'll find that out.
Yeah. We can do roll call and we can find out who's here.
And who's missing? And Anita Brown,
I am here.
Valerie Korjagan,
I am here.
Charles Lemmy.
I just let him in.
Okay,
He should be here.
all right. I'll watch for him on the list. I saw Jocelyn in here.
I'm here.
Sarah Morey,
Hi there.
Misty Morse.
I just let her in too.
Okay, I will keep track. I saw Kayla. Yeah, you're without microphone. That's right. Yep, Sandra Osborne.
Don't
Says she's
see
joining.
her. Oh.
Says she's joining, but she's been joining for a minute, so
Okay,
I don't know.
we'll keep an eye on it. I see Monica. Anna Roberts.
Good morning. Here. I'm having some
Hooray.
camera issues. Sorry.
That's okay. No problem, Misty. We'll make sure it's on there. I see Charles in the chat, so we're good there. I'm here. Jennifer Steffi. I thought I saw Jennifer.
She's
Yeah,
in
there
the
you are in the
chat.
chat. Yep. And Christy Carnahan Whitten.
Present.
Right on. Back to
And
you, Monica.
Sandra, I do see is in the chat now.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Kat. Next thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have anything to add, or does anyone want to make a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Christy.
I'll
do I
second
have a
that,
second?
Anita.
Thank you, Anita. All in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we can move on to the minutes from the December 4th meeting, which are posted below this month's agenda. Thank you to Kat for putting those together. Do I have any comments for change or motions to approve?
This is Sarah Morey. I'll make a motion to approve them as they are.
Well, that's
Thank you.
This is Anita. I'll second that. I was
Thank
checking
you.
to make sure we had that spelling correct. It was Morris and Reeves, wasn't it, Sarah? We had wrong last time. Sorry.
Yeah, it's correct. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of approving the December 4th minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So moving on to the state library report.
So, our big thing is migrations. I think since we last met, Edinburgh had migrated. They did that last month. And just as a reminder, they cataloged in their materials and they did an awesome job. They got through that very quickly. Right now we're working on Delphi. We're trucking along there. We have patron data loaded in MIG. Britt is doing training right now. Jeremy's still working on bibs, and those will go into MIG hopefully by the end of the week. And then they go live March 10th. And then after them is Crawfordsville. And I can't remember if I talked about this at our last meeting or not, but we had met with Mobius to see if they could help with some migration, just have general migration help since we have so many in line. And the state library had some grant money that they could possibly put towards that. So that has been moving forward. We're going to meet with Mobius again next week to talk logistics. The state library was able to put money towards that. So they'll be helping us get through the list a little bit quicker. I think we have, I can't remember, 8 or 9 libraries in the line. So hopefully that will help with the people at the end of the line won't have to wait so long to get migrated. What I envision that they'll start working on Crawfordsville once we have that logistics meeting with them. So that will be nice. Trying to think if there's any more migration stuff. I don't think so. It's just always happening. We're also working with Georgia Pines for some acquisition training coming up this week and next. I think that's the only thing there. The server move happened and went well and went quickly, which is always lovely. Thank you to Jeremy. He spent most of his weekend working on that. And then the other big thing for me anyway is the annual report, which is kind of another year of a messy annual report. So I'm kind of trying to do as much in the background that I can until the vendor is put into place. So if you have anyone asking, I will get annual report statistics out as soon as I can. My goal is to not run into anything with Delphi since they're March 10th. I assume that the timeline for getting the annual report in will be pushed back. The due date will be pushed back however much time it's taken to set up this vendor. So I'll get them in to the directors as soon as possible. I know there's other stuff happening. I just don't know what it is. My brain is just mushy or migrations, all migrations. That's it.
Okay. You're muted, but I assume you said, let's training and support report. So I have been training, mostly Delphi. We met a couple times earlier this week, and I'm meeting with them a couple times next week to finish out the circulation. They are, I am unmuted, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're just moving right along for training. It's a bit tight, but we are doing it. We did not meet with the cataloging party in Remington at the end of January because people were under the weather. So we're hoping to schedule the next one at the end of March. So once that is confirmed, I will send out a notice to everyone who is able to join us. Refreshers wise, we're at about 74% of the accounts that use one or both Cat 1 and local admin permissions. And I have more to update this morning. So I have been working on that. Again, they have until March 1st to take the refreshers, and then once that hits, their accounts will be reverted to Cat 2 and or Circ 1. So they can still access Evergreen, but they can't do the elevated permissions until they finish the refreshers. I've scheduled a couple new reporter webinars, one for basics, like completely from scratch, creating folders and all that, and then advanced, which will include more like when you clone a template, how you can modify it to add filters or display that you need, and then also starting them from scratch. I've also scheduled an inventory webinar to go over the functions in Evergreen, so to use it for that. And there's also some documentation that was really great that I found from another consortium that I'm hoping that I will modify for Evergreen, Indiana. That's about it. Oh yeah, inventory is super fun. So
Great.
that's about it.
Any questions for Britta or Courtney before we move on to unfinished business? Okay, then unfinished business, the Cat 1 policy discussion. There are a few notes in the document that Courtney just brought up, and then there was an email thread that I resent the other day. What do people think?
So sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I watched the last meeting that I was unable to attend, and I read the notes, and I think I have I have thoughts, which are
Okay.
few and hard to come by.
Please
Okay,
share.
I will be happy to share. Okay, my final thoughts at this time. Leave the policy as is. I think the discussions that we have had, that is what I wanted. I wanted to hear your opinions on everything and the possibilities of if we move forward, what that may or may not look like. So I think based on opinions, based on the discussions, I think we could leave the policy as is. We be more proactive on those annual check-ins and agreement tracking like we have in the policy that we have not really been doing. Promote the request bib form, uh, send out a survey requesting cataloger information. And I still would like to know like levels of mark comfort. So getting to know like their Cat 1 status and if they, what their levels of mark to, so I could hopefully build things around that. And then I'm still very interested in looking into a Cat 1 adjacent permission profile so they can import records. Because that's one of the main thing I think a lot of libraries need, but they can't without Cat 1. So as long as they have the knowledge that they use to compare their item in hand to the MARC record, they should be able to import records, but it would need to be separate from Cat 2. So a Cat 1 adjacent profile. Those are my thoughts.
I think that I would agree that between the discussion last time and the discussion via email, that I think overall the committee is leaning toward keeping things in place. But maybe with um, more oversight and more um, paperwork, red tape with the agreements between libraries who have Cat 1s and those who do not.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Charles, having that import request form still available to them. And I appreciate everyone who was able to take the time to help import those other records. Um, and I know I got a bunch, several more the other day. So I need to send that out again for those who may be interested, and then also clean up what has been done and take care of all that. I just haven't been able to get to that yet. Um, but I still like the idea of um, that adjacent profile as well as that request form.
So they'd be able to bring in records, they just can't edit?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
So, what do you want from us now?
Confirmation that we just leave it as is and my ideas are okay and we can just keep doing what we're doing. And I'll look into the adjacent profile and
So the adjacent profile would be if they want that, like as you're bringing someone on, if they're not comfortable, you would be like, this is an alternative.
or if they can't find it because they don't have like OCLC access, sometimes they can't find a record, but it is there in OCLC, but they just can't access it. So that's what for that form that they could use if they couldn't import it themselves.
I'm considering some kind of a motion to make, but I'd like to say something that I don't think was in the comments. And that is that my ability to participate in help for other libraries comes and goes with the director that I have at the time. And I don't think any mention was made of that. As you veer into requesting the catalog committee members to do more, and you have a director that says, well, those people are not in my data, they're not in our tax base, so let's withhold helping other libraries, that's a total foreign concept to me. Because I feel like Evergreen community is really important to build up. However, when you started veering into things that you're going to request of the committee members to do, that depends on the director that I have at the time. You're asking the libraries to provide more services than my next director may want me to do. So that wasn't in the comments. Overall, whereas I don't have any problem at all helping the other libraries or importing when I can. If they can import and they can't edit, that kind of puts them in a bad spot. So I guess I've ended my comment on consider the directors to come and how much they want me to do. I'm in favor of keeping the policy about the same that it was, because we were trying to consider Courtney and Britta dealing with the new libraries, trying to onboard. And we actually had a library that, although it was required that they have a Cat 1, they lost their Cat 1 and they kept getting books in. And so even though it was a requirement, they were trying to maintain a library without having a Cat 1. So yes, I would like to make it possible for them to have cataloging done for them, for library and assistance that can help. However, it depends on, maybe I get, another director that says, you can't go to the openings, you can't go to the parties, you can't go, even if it's a helpful thing to the community. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, it's basically voluntary right now, right? Like if you want to import
That's
records for
true.
someone, it's not expected of anyone,
That's
Yeah.
true.
particularly.
Well,
I think
except
that's
for those of us, who is most of us, who are point people. There are people who are supposed to be able to contact us. I just got an email yesterday with probably 6 or 8 things that she wants me to create records for. And that is my responsibility as her point person. So presumably Anita has that same responsibility,
That's right.
whether, but her
And I
director may not
debated on
appreciate
whether
that.
to pull out as that point person for the community.
well, I think the whole point is just, just trying to get things off Britta's plate. So we're throwing it, instead of it relying on one person, it's a whole group of people. And your director doesn't let you, but maybe, Monica has a couple minutes and can import one or two. I mean, anything beyond what we were doing is helpful. And I guess I don't want to speak for everyone, but I certainly understand that you can't, you can't do it because of your library, and that's unfortunate. But there are other people that could.
Yes, and it changes per director is what I'm saying.
So should we
So if
have
you
people
put in,
using the form then? Like that should be how
Yeah.
they ask for, is using the form, and then people who can import it,
in
and then
my
people who
thoughts,
can't don't.
it's just as counterproductive to overload what the state employees, what Evergreen employee, what you guys are doing for us too. That's just as harmful to keep piling on to British plate and for us not to participate. I don't want to have opened a can of worms here. I'm just trying to say, in what the discussion came up last time, it was like you are going to now be requesting more from the catalog committee, which is, I don't have a problem with that. I just have to work within the parameters of my director at the time. So I hate to over volunteer and then within a few months you have to back out of everything. I didn't want the new policy to involve too much commitment, more commitment than was feasible. I like the existing, but I wanted to to relieve Britta and Courtney as they saw the libraries coming in, that maybe they didn't have anybody qualified. I also felt like we needed to keep the standard up there for having a Cat 1 in the libraries, if at all possible.
To answer Christy's question about notification, the right now for like Google Forms, only in their settings, only the owner of the spreadsheet can receive the notice. I've looked into their. Did you shake your head?
I did. I mean, I have several that I will use in my library that the owner is not the only one who gets notified.
Please let me know how you do that.
Well, what I was wondering is if like you were trying to, I mean, I don't know, but I wondered if you were trying to notify the distribution list and maybe that doesn't work, but if we all go in individually and register it, do it ourselves, then we'll do our own individual ones, then we would be notified.
Question,
That
do you
is
guys
how
use
Google
Google
Sheet-
Workspace?
That's how Google Sheets works. We can put our own individual notifications in there, but they won't send to lists because I have it happening in my building all over the place. So as individuals, we can go in and set up email notifications from that sheet
So
ourselves.
each of the committee members needs to go in and set and change those settings themselves.
Okay. See, this is why I need you guys. You know all the stuff.
Courtney, could you bring that up and we could show how to do that?
For the notifications,
Yeah.
I definitely know where that is. Okay,
I'm
right
getting
here.
it.
I was wondering about bringing it. Yeah, it's there. But I was wondering about bringing up the responses to the form
Oh,
to show everybody where to go and what settings to set up.
Go to tools.
But this isn't. But looking at it on this document is
I'm getting
the
it. I'm
same as
getting
looking
it.
at it on
Thank you.
a form.
I'm getting
So
it.
you need to look at the spreadsheet that comes out of the form.
I'm getting it. It's in chat.
thank you.
There you go. And then if you could, then it is under tools, but it has a different menu than the one you were just seeing.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it, and it's letting me get all the way through to the set notification rules, but it's not letting me save.
It let me save. And so now it's supposed to email me every time
Somebody submits a form.
a form is submitted, not a change is made, but a form is submitted, and it let me change it or save my changes.
I'm trying, I keep looking to see if I'm a owner. We tend to put each other as editor, owner of our spreadsheet. So I was trying to find one that I wasn't on. So I could.
You are
use
the
it.
owner of the spreadsheet.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I'm not sure.
I didn't create it.
I know.
We are one.
Dear God, that's scary.
Anyway, I guess that's not something we need to worry about right
No.
now, but
But it is
how it's
doable
done,
for
and we
those who
can-
wish to,
Yeah.
if they have time. I would recommend that maybe set it as that daily digest one, because when people submit, sometimes they will submit a bunch. and it'll be easier on your inbox. So, because you really just need one notification.
So we continue as is, or is that, do you guys have, we talked last time about being more diligent about the state library having, or the admin team having paperwork reflecting the agreements between libraries. Is that, are you guys going to look into that, or should the committee or the EC or somebody make a standard agreement that we can hand to any library who wants it?
That's what we were talking about this morning.
It's like you were in our
Oh
conversation
my
this
God.
morning.
That's so scary.
Yeah, so I think in Britta's email, she's going to send out her form. She's going to ask for if you have an agreement to send it to us. And we talked about making a standard form just to make it easier. Maybe even have that available on our website.
Cool. Okay,
We
so
may not need a motion or a vote then, huh?
I don't think so.
If it's just gonna stay the same.
No, yeah.
okay,
Thank
so
you,
can we
everyone.
move on?
Or adjacent. The adjacent person, you could work on that and propose that later, maybe.
Oh yeah, we'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
After Delphi.
Okay. After Delphi. After annual statistics.
After 2026.
Okay, so we can move on to the item matrix, which is also Britta.
Since this was kind of Charles's idea, at least from what I remember, I asked him some questions yesterday, and this is what I have. It lists all of the statuses that are currently in Evergreen, what they can and can't do. There was one column that says like prone to hopeless holds, which everything basically said false, but apparently that was based on the item status, like function, the creation function was a newer thing, so they were all default. But based on the opaque visibility and the holdability, the prone to hopeless holds thing doesn't really need to come into play. So I kept it off of this spreadsheet, and I wanted you guys to look at it, see if there's anything that might be missing, or if we think this will be useful to people.
My immediate reaction is, do we assume the blanks are just no then, or
Yes.
okay. I will say I know I can set cataloging as a status from the holdings editor. Uh, I just don't know about anything else. I usually don't use it because if something is up in cataloging, like my department, it's usually better to mark it temporarily unavailable because setting it to cataloging does other things in the catalog that make it frustrating for people to see if we have it. So I just generally don't use it as a status.
Can I speak to that for just a second?
Go right ahead.
I don't use temporarily unavailable. I usually use in process, but for the same reason, because if you use cataloging, if you send it to back to your checkout desk and they check it in, it immediately routes it back to technical services and cataloging.
Yes, that's why. That's why another reason I don't use cataloging. You are 100% correct. I'm like, yeah, that's another reason I don't use it.
Yeah, it's
In
not
process, they can still place the hold. It can be captured for a hold,
It won't
but not temporary.
capture specifically, but it won't be targeted but it won't bring up like an override or is not holdable alert.
I saw a really cool status project that CW Mars did, the status options. If it was not holdable, it would say available and then in parentheses and in bold, not holdable. If it was recently returned, it could also say as an option, not holdable. And if it said, ask your library, which we have, contact library, it could also say not holdable. And I thought that would be very helpful instead of the patrons going through the process of trying to place the hold and then being told in red, it's not holdable. So I really liked that option for it to say it may be available, but it's not holdable right there in the status. Now, will they try to put it on hold anyway? Yes. Quite a few people will probably try to put it on hold, but I really liked for them to be able to see that right there on the status. This item is not holdable. Yard games, it's available, it's in the library, but you can't place a hold, that type of thing. That's all.
So that's a renaming of the status itself to include.
And I thought it might not be as major if it is, because it's already a status. It's just a renaming of some of them. And so, yes, maybe that would be a difficult thing.
It would populate, theoretically, you rename it, it would populate across the catalog, right?
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yep.
Would it be, different topic, but would it be useful to have a column on this spreadsheet that indicates if this status will reset to available or reshelving or whatever, like if it's a resettable, like cataloging will stay in cataloging until somebody manually changes it. And it will keep that book going in an endless loop. Whereas offsite, if you check in offsite, it goes to back to available.
I'm for any of that kind of stuff, Sarah. I mean, it took me a long time. I had been in Evergreen a long time before I found out the different statuses that were not holdable. Some were surprising.
I think that would be useful. My brain was like, wait, isn't that what sets item active also does? But no, that's definitely a different thing.
Yeah, I was looking at the spreadsheet trying to see if any of that, what's on here indicates that. And I don't think that I see anything that's sort of saying like, yeah, this is going to be sticky. Like this is a sticky status or this is a auto change status.
You can obviously move where the column is going to go.
I wonder if this is information readily available or if we have to go out and test it by getting an item, setting it to one of these statuses and checking it in.
If that's the case, I'm happy to help test.
I would love that.
I have a couple of things I wanted to ask, but I don't want, if you're doing sticky status, I don't want to interrupt.
Go.
Okay. First of all, there's an asterisk on restrict deletion, but there's nothing that says what that asterisk means.
That's where that asterisk was. I had a little note down here with an asterisk says need to check and test.
Oh.
And then I was looking, I was like, where? I didn't put any asterisk on anything. And that's where that was. So thank you for pointing that out. So I
No
need to
problem.
test all those.
Okay, well, to that end, you have yes in that column for lost, and that is not accurate. Evergreen does warn you, but it doesn't require an override. Well, I guess it could require, but it's just not. It's not asking me for it. But
So we had a ticket come in the other day and someone was trying to delete an item marked lost and it wouldn't let them even as a local admin or cat one. And Kristen confirmed that it cannot be deleted without a global override if it's associated with open bills.
It has bills.
I delete lost items every month, and it always warns me, but it's never complained. And surely some of the ones that I deleted still have bills attached.
I'm just gonna highlight this. So, okay, I will double check that then.
Okay.
And yeah, Monica, maybe you just have the same power as us. We just gave you
Uh-huh.
everything.
Uh-huh. But no, I like this. This is really good. I'm glad that Charles suggested this. Once it's complete, I would like to see it linked on the page that has the circ matrix on it.
Yeah. And just as a heads up, because of all of the upcoming ADA compliance rules and laws going into effect in mid-April, we will be changing the matrices to a Google Sheets. And we'll still have the PDF if people want to download it, but the official link will be towards those sheets. We'll be making some of those changes.
That's good
Yay.
because some of that font is really small and bold on that PDF
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So to not just shunt aside what Anita was saying about what ultimately is a renaming of some statuses to include the no holds,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
would it be possible to just check with Jeremy or somebody at a systems level to find out what kind of chaos changing actual status names might create?
I can see issues because we would probably have to update everything in Aspen separately. Because those have their own formats and then we map it to our status.
And
So
this
we
was
would
the
probably,
discussion in Aspen with Evergreen, yeah,
yeah. Um,
because they are Aspen CW Mars.
so
Oh, so they changed it in Aspen, not in Evergreen.
No, she didn't say in the webinar.
you guys aren't in the
I think
cataloging
we have
community.
a non-holdable when we set a shelving location, but we also, when we're looking at the item status, item attributes, we can also say that that particular thing is not holdable. And so I know that there would be at least 2 or 3 things that would come into play. It's checked in, it's available, but it also has a tag that this item can't be held. So I know that it probably is not going to be cut and dried, but CW Mars worked it out. So I like to keep up.
Did you say did they have this in writing or was it in a webinar
It's
or
a
a meeting?
webinar. It was on their the weekly Aspen, and they had one for the different environments. Evergreen was one. So I could send you that page. I could put that link in. Do you want me to put that link in the thing? Let's see if I can find.
Yeah, can you please? Sorry,
Talk
sorry.
amongst yourselves. I'm going to mute myself for a little bit.
Okay. So status mapping in Aspen, of course, it's one of those causes a nightly reindex. Um, we do have a value and then the status. So we might, this would be helpful if we had our test site. If the value, sorry, I'm trying to think and talk and it never works out. I need to look something up. But it's possible we could update it in Aspen without changing anything directly in Evergreen. I want to Google something real quick. So talks amongst yourselves.
What, no talking prompt for us?
We made it to February.
Woo!
Barely.
Literally unmuted myself to say barely.
Status mapping.
I can talk amongst myself, amongst us, Courtney. Did you know you have an exclamation point on your user on your Google spreadsheet there?
No, like
The
up
upper
here?
right corner, on the upper right
Oh,
corner?
yeah, it's because it wants me to put in all of my information.
Oh,
I don't want to do that.
no, I get that.
Okay. So we are able, so the value would be the status from our ILS. So if we just have like available, and then there's a column that we could, how we would like the status to display in Aspen. But I worry, not solely worry, wonder if because everyone uses the same statuses, we might have to create a new status. Because if we have it marked as available, but maybe other like available but not holdable, but other libraries have holdable copies. Am I making any sense?
I'm sort of following your logic.
My
But-
therapist would be able to follow me.
But the status, so in Aspen, the status shows for the individual items. I mean, like, are we the whole notion of don't give away good in the pursuit of perfection? If something is not holdable because it's been set to not holdable, maybe that just is what it is right now. And then if it's in a status that is non-holdable, it will actually display that it's non-holdable because it's in that status.
I think I don't know part of the issue, but originally Aspen was set up, configured, so libraries' non-holdable items would not appear in the catalog, which we didn't like because we still wanted their items to appear, but now they are grouped together with all of the holdable things. Period. That was just comment, and I had no follow-up.
So this is, pure data geek, but I wonder how many people are really placing like item level holds from the Aspen catalog.
They can't. That's a staff only.
Okay. So then it doesn't matter because they're just placing a hold on a title, on a group title.
Okay, I need to test my thought.
And Anita is suggesting that maybe this needs to move over to Aspen, which is, I think, a righteous suggestion.
Yeah. Okay. Just a quick thing. I mean, unless the record, because you can click into separate records when you click that, like the additions button in a search result. And unless that record has a single item in it, it's just going to be a title level hold. So, and staff are the only ones who shouldn't be placing item and call number level holds in the staff client.
These weird items, however, are usually distinctive to our library. These strange things that we want them to drive in and pick it up. And they want to put museum passes is another example, not just yard games or something like that. So, and you might have more concept of what they're talking about after you watch that little, I don't know what it is, 20, 30 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So quite often the things that are not holdable are specific to our library. And if it is a book, they probably can get it from another library. So eventually they would find a holdable copy.
Okay.
Thanks for your time on that, Britta.
Thank you for the link.
I thought
And
that
I
was
will do my
cool.
darndest to watch it before our next
I
meeting.
thought it was cool for the patrons to know before they went down the rabbit hole. Just out front, you can't put it on hold.
Yeah, and I agree that the hold button in Aspen is not great because it can be definitely misleading. Because it's there. Okay. So item status, matrix, we will test that restrict deletion. And we'll be able to do that in the, like our practice and migration server.
Let me know if you want some help with it.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on this before we move on? Anybody else have comments, questions? Or Britta, did you have more to say?
If I do, I don't know it. Oh, we also want to test that sticky status.
I like that.
Okay, so let's move on to bootleg items. I've got a link there for something that I wrote up for recommendation to put into the cataloging procedures guide, but if you guys want to change or add anything, feel free. And Courtney, I went ahead and said that you or a cataloging committee member, it kind of happened to be me, but I don't know that it needed to be me. So I went ahead and just put a representative from the committee or you will contact them.
That looks good, Monica.
Thank you.
Unauthorized does sound better than illegal.
I used thesaurus.com or dictionary.com, the
Google,
thesaurus
what's
thing,
another word for?
right? And then so yes, I went with that. So if anybody wants to add anything, we can. Otherwise, we probably just need a vote to have.
I'd
this
make a
added.
motion to add that to the, is that procedures?
Yes,
Procedures guide, cataloging procedures guide. This is Anita.
thank you.
This is Sarah. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. All in favor of adding this bit to the procedures guide, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. It doesn't say anything about repercussions, but I didn't know that there were any repercussions to add, so
Who's
we can
gonna
add this
follow
later
through?
if,
Follow up.
what would you say?
Who's gonna follow up on that? What bulldog
Me.
are you gonna send to the library?
Well,
Bulldog,
I
right
keep,
here.
yeah, I keep copying Courtney, and on my emails, so she's my bulldog.
Well, I like it.
And when I initially asked Sylvia about it, it was basically like, ask them to remove it. And if they don't, ask me again. It's kind of what it felt like. So,
We'll deal with it when we have to deal with it. Right?
yes, exactly.
And
So-
it's getting to that point with a few
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
I need to send another email and check up on that, but some of them, most people have been good, but there have been a few that have been resistant.
Yeah. And maybe,
Well,
I
this
don't know.
gives you more teeth if this is in the policy.
Yeah.
That is
Ooh,
true.
Goblin King.
Don't tempt someone with a good time.
So if we're done with that, we can move on to new business. First of all, I asked Courtney if we wanted to reschedule the April meeting. I don't know if it's necessary or not. That is during the PLA annual conference, and I don't know if people will be at that. I will be at that, but I don't know if anybody else will be. So I don't know if we want to reschedule. Wait, Charles, we did last year or the year before because it was in Columbus, Ohio, so a lot of local Indiana people were headed that way. This year it's in Minneapolis. I don't know if as many people will be, so I don't know if it's necessary to reschedule or not. It's sounding like not. Which is fine, but somebody else gets to run. Oh, I guess Jocelyn gets to run
Yes, that's plenty
next
of
meeting.
warning for me to take over. So I can do the April meeting.
Okay, then we'll leave it as is. And Kayla, yes, we can do it virtually, but I'm not going to try and fit that into my schedule. So,
Well, do we have a lot of things on the new business that we're gonna need to vote on in April?
well,
I don't
the
want to be
new
a stick in the
business,
mud. I mean, the
the
last time everybody was afraid to vote on anything because Monica wasn't here anyway. I
Oh,
mean, we just felt like, the big dog
I
wasn't here.
remember that.
Didn't even want to discuss it. So I'm open.
Like, I don't know, what does Mana think?
Let's call her.
Let's wait. We should wait.
okay. Well, we'll go on. Um, so that's fine. So Jocelyn, put that on your calendar.
I just did. I'll still forget, but
I mean, it's not like we don't want to miss an opportunity to give Jocelyn a hard time either. So that'll be a fun meeting.
it will be fun
I
for
want
me.
I want to back up
Okay.
to the Stranger Things and the state.
Okay.
I would like to know, has anybody discussed with the state if you can restrict those bootleg items to that library? They would not transit, they would not be in the catalog. Is that your power to do that? Because the library can purchase it. That's fine. That's their taxpayer money. But we don't want to get the state in trouble. If that's even an option to keep it out of the Evergreen community, that would be like your last power.
Well, the last power would be just to delete it ourselves.
I understand, but they're
But then they'll just
probably
check it out as a
saying they
pre-cat.
purchased it, they don't want to delete
Oh,
it.
that is true. That is true. They would just do pre-cats forever.
Yeah. Personally, I feel like that's a bit overreaching.
Okay. So maybe we'll talk about that when Jocelyn's in charge, huh?
I mean, yes, we could, the state library could edit their items, but we probably need to put that into the procedures guide before we just do it.
And see, we just voted on this new policy.
And
Yeah.
they could just edit them back if they want. I don't see where
That's
I
true,
can,
Sarah.
okay. It's protecting the state library.
I feel like
Because really, what libraries are going to be like, oh no, you can't transit our DVDs away from our our patrons. That's terrible.
something like that would need to be policy.
Yeah, I agree.
Other people would need to weigh in on that.
Yeah, the EC would need to approve it.
And there are lots of things I do want to delete from other libraries' catalog, but honestly, this is really low on the list.
Yeah, I was doing testing
All
for
right,
that
all right, all
subfield B
right.
thing, and I was
Enough.
like, there are guidebooks in here from the 90s. I was like,
Yes.
please delete them.
Yeah. It helped that Library IQ was able to put on show what was what was lost, so that I could get in there and finally find it, because once it's gone or it's out or it's missing or whatever, I couldn't even delete the shelving location for some of this stuff that hasn't been in our library for years. So I could at least get a hold of a barcode number with them, so that helped. I know you're talking about our library. I'm always paranoid.
Okay. May we move on? Okay.
Sorry.
Procedures guide update. This is something that I put on here because my technical service assistant emailed me, if I can find the email. I had it out before. She emailed me a couple months ago and she's like, since you're in the committee, I want to suggest this. If you could somebody could bring up the procedures guide, please, on the screen. She was in contact with another cataloger and they were looking for both of them were looking for the information about differences in pagination. And they eventually found it on page 17, saying that where it says like how many ever page difference it says. If you it's the bottom of page 17.
Sorry for the fast scroll, although it's not that fast. Here we go.
Okay, so they're in the 300 thing. For print materials, difference of 3 or less pages, unless it's 10 on pages, consider the record a match. So my assistant and the other cataloger did eventually find that, but they said it was difficult to find. And Megan is requesting that we also put it on page 22, which is where I looked at it this morning, is for variations in measurements. And it does talk about pagination. So we would like to duplicate the information that's on page 17 in this section. And I thought that would be something that we could maybe just put in right now and vote on, because it's not a matter of making a decision, it's just editing the text.
Since Emma is no longer here and I was the other person that pushed for this rule, I think that makes perfect sense. Especially since it took us, I think, 9 months to get it even approved last time.
Right. So could we even just copy and paste from the page 17?
That's makes sense to me if no one else has any other thing.
I don't think that needs a vote, do you, Monica?
Well, I mean, we're changing the text.
You're duplicating approved text though, for an additional location. You're not removing anything.
Um,
Do you want to make a motion, Charles?
let me make one stipulation because I'm trying to parse what I'm looking at real quick. It is also like somewhere in here that, if everything else is the same and this is the only difference, it does say that. That is the one thing I want to make sure is in there. Because the whole reason we have this rule is to account for variations among printings, which are like, so again, something that has just recently cropped up, and we want to make sure, yes, it's fine. It's within 10 pages. They just fiddled with things. Um, Packaging.
Publishers and their fiddling.
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, if that's yes, motion to add. Motion to add. Let's do it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Before we do vote on that, can we make that a complete sentence?
No.
I mean, I guess it is a complete sentence, but it doesn't. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. I don't remember how it's worded elsewhere. Oh, okay. The one above it says when comparing for a match, so you could probably do that.
I think that changes the. Hang on. If the book has a difference of three or less pages, I
It
don't
may be
know,
considered a match.
because the difference of. Hang on. I could have sworn the variation was like I thought the variation was 10 pages, not 3. Um,
It says 3 or less unless the book, the item itself is 10 pages or less. But the 10, no, I'm just gonna stop talking.
no, you're fine. I'm thinking I could have sworn the variation was greater than 3 or less pages because now I'm going to feel bad because I think I've been saying the wrong thing to people on the list serve. Okay.
Cheryl.
I
I'm the
think it's a
problem.
Mandela effect.
Oh my gosh.
You think one thing and not.
To be fair, you do have to read that sentence fairly carefully to
Mm-hmm.
differentiate between the 3 and the 10 parts.
Yeah, okay. If that does match, I know, Val, I'm sorry. You'd think the person who said, "Let's add this to the catalog," would know what they put in the catalog.
It didn't occur to me either.
Um, if that matches what we already approved in the catalog, I'm not going to belabor the point and say, yes, let's put it in there. And I will, the next time this happens, I'll put retractions. Like, I messed up. It's 3 pages is the difference.
We'll be waiting for it.
That's fair. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
So can your motion still stand to add this here?
Yes, I motion
Okay.
to add it.
Do you want to, Britta, are you doing the one doing the typing?
Yes. Did we want to include the when comparing your hold for a match or?
Or just say, if the book has a difference, and then after the parentheses say consider it a match, or you can consider it a match.
It says with the following exceptions up above.
Yes, because there's the 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that's fine. Does anyone want to second Charles' motion?
I'll second it, Christy.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, all in favor of adding this to page 22, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay.
See, we
Thank
probably
you.
voted on this before or when Monica wasn't here. That's why we got into this problem.
Uh-huh.
Sounds
No,
about
like
right.
I said,
So
this wasn't my idea.
So look out, Jocelyn.
Next
I'm
thing
not
on
taking any responsibility for that. I can't even vote on anything. This is all y'all.
All of y'all.
Next thing on the agenda is the Library of Congress Subfield V announcement, which is linked in the agenda. And then Jocelyn sent some extra information. Jocelyn, would you like to discuss this?
No,
Oh,
but we kind of have to because this is what the Library of Congress is doing. So starting this week, they are no longer adding subfield Vs to any records. It's going to be a free floating 655 is what would be in the subfield V. Because it works with BibFrame or some reason. But my kind of take is that people are not gonna follow that. They're gonna keep doing. There are tons of reasons why we need that subfield V. In the subject headings, the only issue is if people are importing records from Library of Congress, they will have to manually fix those. So it's one more thing we'd have to tell people to be on the lookout for.
And I found or I'm on the OLAC listserv, and they had a report and recommendations, and they are basically against this ruling by the Library of Congress. I can share that too.
I agree.
And I was looking into how our catalog kind of works, both the classic catalog and Aspen. Um, and I'm trying to find my notes, but there's so many flippin' tabs.
This is especially going to be bad for kids' materials because the subfield V, juvenile literature, juvenile fiction, that's usually one of the things that pops out the most in a record that says it is for children. So if you want books on cats that are for juveniles, you need cats, subfield V, juvenile literature together. They have to be, so it's a compound subject heading. And then you click on that and it should take you to all the other nonfiction books about cats. Dropping that subfield V, then you'll get books on fiction books too. You'll get periodicals.
I must have deleted my notes. Go me. Oh, here's the.
It sounds like a horror show waiting to happen. Having a BISAC record in there, would that alleviate, or are you fearful that they're going to go back to this at some point? Or it's just going to go less and less specific as cataloging changes?
I don't know. I think the idea was that we were going to have, the faceted subject headings and everything, which is why we left all of those fast headings in there. But again, we're doing things for systems we don't have, and that most people aren't using systems that this would make sense for. And I'm I
well,
mean, 20 years, it's like we keep doing things for these ILSs that don't exist and that, only like major institutions are using because they can, and we really can't. So it's great that they can be innovative and everything, but
well, toward that end, Jocelyn, you said about cats subfield v juvenile literature, and you're not wrong, but am I wrong that Evergreen doesn't treat those as a string anyway? So in our case, does this really make a difference?
doesn't it treat it as a string?
I thought that Evergreen did not. I mean, I think that it probably should, but I thought that Evergreen did not. I thought that was
I
one of the
know
problems with
my old
Evergreen.
Cersei system did not treat them as a string, but that was because we had it set up wrong. Well, at least that's what the Cersei guy told me. That could have not been true either.
And it wasn't the OLAC, it was the ALA had the report.
Kayla's suggesting just saying this is a thing and that we're not complying at this time, I would point out the sentence at the bottom that there's no requirement for anybody to follow the LC's practice. Um, and so yes, we can do that, but the thing is, Jocelyn, all those things that you said, even if it does work in Evergreen, all those things are important, but they're not retroactively fixing things, so there's going to be records forever, some that have the string and some that don't.
It does compound them. I just tested it.
Did
So
it? Does it?
cats, yeah, if you click on the second section, it will include what was in the first before it. So if you
Okay.
click on the subfield V, it does look like they're separate. The hyperlinks look separate. But when you click on subfield V, it does show you all the other books that also have what's in the subfield A.
Well, that's good to know.
So I was not purporting that BISAC is the thing to rely on. I was asking how do they refine a search then? What's your recommendation on that? And I'm concerned about records that we import now or continue to import. Like I think it was Monica brought that up too. I read as much of it as I could yesterday. But what what do you propose? Do you have a proposition?
I mean, we can just go on like normal. It's just we're going to have to look out for some of these records not having the subfield V's where they used to have
And
them.
would your do you think, like, I don't know enough about LCGFT to know if there's 655 that would take place of your juvenile literature subfield B? Because like what's on the screen right now has a bunch of 650s and then has a 655. Is there an appropriate genre form term for just juvenile literature?
Yeah, it would. So what they're going to do is it's going to be a 655 V juvenile literature, or maybe it's not a V. They're just putting the subfield V into a genre field.
Right.
It's not, juvenile literature is not actually one of the genre
Well,
LOC
then
genre.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Children's literature and juvenile literature are not. But picture book, board book,
Toy and movable books.
Unrelated, but we can always add our own genre form subject headings into our
That's true.
local thesaurus.
Well, they also have like greatly expanded their genres recently. I don't know if you've seen the press releases for that. I haven't looked into it, but they did create a lot more official genre terms, probably because of this.
I think if we put out some kind of a statement, we need to indicate, well, make sure people are clear that we're not even a Library of Congress is suggesting retroactively touching records and clearing the V's out, but that we are also continuing to add them if they're not present, like guidance that way.
I do we want to recommend that they be added? I mean, if the Library of Congress is going this way, do we want to not say that they can't be used, but make it optional?
Yes, Monica, I think they should be notified of the change.
Yeah, because if people don't know this is happening, we are going to run into instances where catalogers are like, well, that looks wrong. I'm going to change it, which happens enough already that we don't need to get in record fixing wars, I guess, amongst catalogers who don't realize that this has happened.
Well, I can send out this document to the listserv and tell them that this is happening and that we've discussed it and what that continue to use subfield V's, or if you import an LC record, add the subfield V's, or just let it go because it's an LC record. I guess what does the committee prefer? Or
That's
maybe we
a
think
tough
about it
question.
for 2 months and talk about it in April.
Yeah, that's
I'll,
a tough
yeah.
question.
When I did see this on the agenda, I did think, well, I'm not getting out before noon today.
um,
I mean, it could just be leave the record however it is. If it has them, that's fine. And if it doesn't have them, that's fine. But that doesn't address what Jocelyn is saying about like the reason for the need for them.
mhm. Kayla, is that a motion?
Even though Monica's not going to be there in April.
I will note we did have someone reach out about this, a cataloger, and I said that we would be talking about it here. So, um,
So in the meantime, I could send out this document and tell them that the committee is discussing how to move forward
yeah, yeah, just we've
so that
started
everybody can be
discussions.
notified.
Yeah, I definitely think you should send it out. Um, so
We've
people
And should
know.
I say,
we've been told a couple of
this is
times
happening?
not to delete. So it's not like they need to go in and delete,
Right, right.
but
Okay.
the records that they're importing may look different and they may need to check to add a genre form. But
In all honesty,
Okay.
like with most stuff I do, I don't even look at the genres. But when I was in a public library and I had kids' materials, I did because that's the only thing in the record that shows that it's geared towards kids because the audience field patrons can't see that. We
at
can
some
see
point,
that.
yes, at some point, we're going to have that in there more than the age bracket in the fixed fields. Appropriate to age. Am I showing
I mean, the
my
other alternative here is to create an Evergreen 655
right?
juvenile literature, and rather than adding the V, follow the LC suggestion, and rather than continuing to add the V, start putting it in as a 655, even if it's not an LC approved. So it's
if you
there.
send out a document, we'll see how much feedback you get also, if they read that.
And honestly, the Library of
People
Congress is
aren't going to
so
read
bad
it. Even
about
if they do, they're not going to
cataloging.
reply. I'm sorry, Jocelyn, what'd you say?
I feel like the Library of Congress has really slipped on its cataloging of materials, and a lot of people are bringing in items from, bookware and stuff where libraries are following their local policies with those records. So I don't actually know how much we'll see this.
Well, Kayla has made a motion to table this. Do I have a second for that?
We can take, I mean, I can't vote, but it will be kind of
Oh,
interesting to see in the next couple of months if we come across records that are affected by this.
right. Jennifer seconded. So all in favor of tabling this till April, say aye.
I
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then I will send out an email and I will tell them this is what Library of Congress is doing. The committee is discussing how to proceed and not to delete subfield V's
Right.
before they hear back from us. Do you have anything else that you want me to put in there?
I think that sounds great. I appreciated the heads up from Jocelyn and who all else saw it. So I think they would be the same way.
Sarah
And
is
if
the one that's put this on the agenda, so thank you to her.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
if you get the question of should we be adding subfield Vs if they're not there, what are you going to tell them?
I guess I'll tell them to add them if they want.
Because right now they are still searchable, according
Yeah,
to Jocelyn,
they
so.
are. So we will be adding them at the state library.
Okay. Okay. Moving on. AI generated materials. Um, I have just recently, well, it's that time of year for us to update our collection development policy, and we're adding something about, um, Charles, I like it. We are adding something to our collection development policy about AI generated materials. I recently viewed a webinar from Web Junction, maybe I can't remember, about AI materials. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, but it was interesting. It was presented by a library about them about their collection development plan and adding AI generated materials and how it should be in your policy and stuff, or what you should address it in your policy, whether you collect them or whether you don't, it should be in your policy. Um, but it was also talking about the cataloging of them, and which is why I wanted to bring it up here, because we can't the cataloging committee can't tell any libraries whether to have or not have AI generated materials, but I thought that we should discuss cataloging AI generated materials or AI assisted materials because that probably should be in the MARC record. Um, and so I wanted to bring that up. I haven't actually done any research from the cataloging side of this issue. Is anyone aware of best practices, specific fields, anything like that?
Honestly, I haven't run into this as much. I know that at our library, if we've received AI generated materials, it has been completely by flukes in the collection development ordering process because we thought, oh yeah, we need a new book on low sodium cookbooks. Let's order this book. And then we get the book in and you look at it and you go, I think an AI wrote this and an AI doesn't know how to cook. So usually, I almost want to feel like an AI generated work, especially right now, it's almost going to be like they're almost treated like bootlegs, I would imagine. You look at them, they don't meet the standards that you want for materials in your collection, so you get rid of them and you don't add them. Even if you
But
spend,
again, we can't tell them not to because the
yes,
bootleg
yes.
issue, it's illegal. This is just
Frowned upon.
potentially unwise. Um, and the presentation that the webinar that I viewed, that library did specifically were allowing, then they put in their policy, we are allowing it as long as it conforms to our collection development status things and stuff. But I think that it belonged, but I think they said that it needed to be in their MARC record. Um, so yes, Charles, I am inclined to just throw that book out because it's AI, but we can't make the whole consortium throw out their AI books.
Right. I will say, one of the AI generated items we got, and this was definitely in the more early day. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to look at that in a second. Um, in the early days of the AI generated literature slop, we got a book that was purportedly by Frida McFadden, which was when she was just starting to blow up. So there was a lot of indie press books in the on Ingram that we were ordering. But then we got one in, and yeah, I'm like, we were all going, this is not Frida McFadden. This has weird pictures in it and it's a weird science fiction story. This is not Frida McFadden. So at some point, like some of these people that are putting out these AI generated works are just plagiarizing and putting someone else's name on it to get someone to buy the book. Um, I guess what I'm saying is yes, you could add it, but you are going to start running into things like this work was plagiarized or it is misrepresenting itself. Um,
But Monica's point, at this time, it is not illegal.
right.
So
That
No.
is
far, it is not proven to be plagiarism. At this point, the state would not be uh, pulled into the picture because it's not illegal. Is that correct? Yeah.
I mean, if it was legitimate plagiarization, then yes, probably. But a lot of this is not. It's just potentially poor quality.
Yeah.
Sarah, I like the genre form that you found, and that's great, and could be used. But I will say that I don't think I was aware till I watched this webinar that so this is for computer generated literature, which is perfect, except there's also apparently some books are coming out with computer generated illustrations, and there's also that they also said, and didn't realize this, that some books are being released as having the off like being written by a human with AI assistance, and that wouldn't, I mean, that you could probably put this in your 655, but this wouldn't cover that completely.
And it's only going
So
to increase.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, this isn't something that we necessarily have to decide today, but I wanted us to talk about it. And talk about whether this is something we would like to add something to the procedures guide.
We have had, in the last couple of months, we've had a children's book that came in that was written by a human, but all the illustrations were AI generated, and another book that came in that was written by a human, and it was noted that it was the AI assisted writing, and we put it in a 500 field. The exact statements that were in the materials, we put them in 500 fields.
And I think that's fine. That's probably sufficient. And I'm glad you did that. But I don't know if we need to have those rules written down somewhere.
I think it probably would be a good idea.
I do too.
that is our role is we make the rules and suggestions or interpretations.
I've run into that on the opposite end where it says it's not AI generated, and I wondered at the time, do I need, of course, it really makes you wonder then, was it really AI generated? But I wondered at the time, should I put this in the mark somewhere? Are we going to get to that point?
I
More
hope not.
will be AI generated as not, or just poorly made. Disgusting example of literature.
Okay, well, I can write something up unless someone else would like to, because I'm not going to be at the April meeting. So if someone else would like to write something and present it at the April meeting, that would be fantastic. But if
You're
not,
such a smarty pants. I'll leave something really special for you, Monica, to do.
We'll make sure to send it to you before so we can get your
And
input.
Yeah, and we have 2 months to come up with something. Yeah, we're gonna get it. No, I think it would be a good idea to be, not that you can be ahead of it, but as far ahead of it as you can get. It's only gonna come up more and more.
Anna, to your point about knowing whether it's AI, that's an excellent point, and that was covered in my webinar as well. But I think, I don't know, I got the impression that some authors are, well, just like Sarah said, like she had one where it was a human who wrote it, but freely admitted that they used AI to assist them. And so I would think that uh, that is true. That is true. So maybe the policy is that when it is specific, it calls itself AI generated. Because we don't want to put a 500 in there saying this looks like a computer probably wrote it. We probably don't want to do that.
I
Can't
think
depend
it
on
could be
dashes.
something like the cataloger's spidey senses have been alerted on this and is suspected that
right.
this is an AI production from the first to the last.
Put an alert note in the item record.
Right. Don't blame
Beware,
us. That's all I'm
beware.
saying. Don't blame us.
So something along the lines of any mention of AI involvement or not involvement should be noted in a 500 field.
Yeah, I think that that's good. And then maybe something about adding appropriate, like your computer generated literature. And if there are any others out there, say, put it in a 500, and if desired, add some 655s with appropriate terms. Are you volunteering to write that?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So I think I'm finally done talking. Does anybody have any public comments or announcements? Oh, Kayla has an announcement. I bet I know what it's going to be about.
The suspense.
She's typing. Give her a
We're all on
moment.
tenterhooks. Hey, congratulations.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
It's wonderful.
Congratulations. Being a director is
Yay.
awesome.
Yeah, it's like you and Sandra now have you're both like big time.
So fancy.
Oh, congratulations. Oh, we're glad to see you staying on the committee.
Yes.
Hey, Kayla,
Um,
make sure that you get on the new directors list from Glenn Hobbs. It has a lot of great new information on it for new directors.
well, that's great news. Congratulations. Any other announcements? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, let's adjourn. I make a motion, we adjourn and get Charles to his lunch.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I was gonna say nobody wants to leave. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Goodbye.
Okay. You guys will meet on April 2nd, and I will see you in June.
Thanks.
Bye.
Sarah, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.